Hey guys, and welcome to the episode 3 of Cubed, the Marvel Snap podcast, where we talk about just, the daily or the weekly things that Marvel Snap has to offer. This week was the week after patch notes. So we'll be discussing what changes were made, what do we think of them, and whatnot. So the first change I have here, guys, gentlemen. Uh, actually, with me, I have Bok Choy and DarkHelmit, aka Dakota and Dawn, respectively. So the first change I have to bring up is Helicarrier. The change was from if discarded, you get +3 random cards to your hand if two. Sorry. So it was changed from +3 random cards to your hand if discarded, but now it's if you discard it, you fill your whole hand with random cards. Now, have you guys tried this in any decks at all?
No, not yet.
I played with it a little bit. I didn't find it to be particularly helpful because it really was that RNG that you had to deal with, right?
Yeah.
So um, sometimes, man, you get some good cards, and sometimes you just get RNG'd right out of the game.
Now, with this, okay, I know like you mentioned it. There's a lot of RNG with using this type of card. Now, say if you have one card in your hand, right? You get six random cards. Do you guys feel like there's more than half bad cards or more than half good cards?
I think the chances you're probably going to get more bad combinations, not necessarily bad cards. So a lot of the time, it's not about how bad the card is in itself. Like um, let's say a card like Venom, right? Venom's a great card if you have all the stuff set up with it. But if you get Venom with a bunch of really crappy cards, it doesn't help you.
That makes sense. Yeah. How about you, Dakota?
Yeah, I mean, when you get the randomized cards, your synergy is usually never there. It's so rare whenever you do anything that gives you these cards that it's going to actually benefit you. So I still steer clear from it. I see it has the potential with, like collector and stuff like that, but I haven't really touched it because I was like, I'm still vibing with everything else. I'm good.
Okay. Now the next change is a kind of a I don't know. I think it was an upgrade from where it was before. Let's talk Omega Red. So it changed from if you're winning this location by 10 or more, you'll get +4 at all locations or the other locations, if I'm not mistaken. It's not all locations, right?
I think it's just the
Uh,
two adjacents.
yeah, too.
Okay, so the two other ones. So now
Yeah.
it changed to if you're winning the location outright, you get +3 to the other locations. So it's basically like a Baxter building effect. So have you guys tried this out in anything at all?
I didn't get a chance to play this one too much. Um, I actually really enjoyed Omega Red when I first started this game. When I first got the card, I used it in ongoing deck pretty often. Mhm. I haven't gotten a chance to start the change. However, I've seen it all over the place, meaning that it's working pretty well, especially in those control decks.
How about you, Dakota? What do you think about the card?
I like it. It's a card I used before when I used to do the destroyer decks. Um, I know that card it was a hit and miss because you had to win at was it at least 10 before it started to do its effect. So it worked if you were able to build that in a lane with Iron Man and stuff. But now that you have this just barely winning a lane or whatever, like getting that extra 3 really helps with your prio. So I had fun with it for a little bit. Again, the deck that I ran was Destroyer, so I'm already running cards that's going to prevent this card from getting ruined, which is nice. And then it's an ongoing. So the one I like to run has a Spectrum pop off at the end. If you see Destroyer is not the best vibe for it, because then you can just beef it up even more, which continues with your +3 power. So you're running with this, and you got your Miss Marvel. It was a fun deck. I enjoyed it on Conquest for sure. I was happy when I saw it because I used to love whenever I got to play Destroyer. The only thing was it just was really hard to get its pop off. So I like it. This is something I'm all for.
Yeah, I feel like before plus 10 is kind of asking a lot for a card, right? Like winning a location by 10 or more is kind of a big deal. They have to either like not contest you or you have to just outright beat them down in that location, which kind of is a bad, it was kind of hard to pull off his effect, but I feel like his his new effect is kind of weird because it does match up to Baxter building, which I know that when we've noticed locations, the locations kind of tend to follow like a character, right? So, like Mr. Sinister Mansion, it copies a card, right, to another location. I know.
Sinister London. Yeah.
Yeah, Sinister London, yeah. So now when you play Mr. Sinister, he just makes a copy of himself. What is it? Magic. If you play Magic, she makes a Limbo. Limbo, it's already Limbo. But it kind of like matches with some characters. Now, I kind of feel like this one doesn't really match with I like his effect because it makes him an overall better card, more consistent card, but I know it has no tie-in to Baxter building. What are your thoughts on that?
I think that's an interesting thought, right? I'm trying to think of other cards that don't match though. So, for instance, like you have Mr. Negative doesn't match the. I'm blanking on what the name of
The Peak.
Oh,
right.
Yeah.
There are multiple out there. I mean, would it be awesome if he had a better matching to whatever location? But that's a really interesting observation that honestly I've never thought about.
Okay. How about you, Dakota?
I'm cool if it doesn't really match, or sometimes they do that. That's just kind of the way it works. I don't. It doesn't bother me in any way. Like I said, I'm more just happy that the card's a little more playable because, especially in the past, I mean, trying to get plus 10 before, we've had a lot more beefy cards. The old Snap, right? Like you're not getting that. So I like that they're doing it the way they're doing. It doesn't bother me at all, even if it kind of matches a different location or anything like that. Maybe they'll change it. I don't know. I mean, if people get upset with that or something, it'd be interesting to see if the developers do anything differently. But I got no problem with it at all. I'm cool with it.
Yeah, I just feel like they're always pushing kind of like, oh, we're trying to make effects and locations kind of match up or kind of be like their comic counterparts. So I found that weird that it matched Baxter building more than something else. But because I feel like his effect would probably match Mr. Fantastic more. You know what I'm saying?
I get you.
But say if you were to kind of redo Omega Red, it doesn't have to have the same effect that he currently has. Do you have like any ideas? Like maybe let's see, like more comic. Like I don't know how his effect kind of ties into him comic wise.
Do you have the ancient texts with you?
I do. Let me grab some water real quick. But Don, you have anything?
Yeah, from my understanding, Omega Red was always a mutant that could absorb the energy from other mutants. So not necessarily steal their power, but maybe steal their energy. Um, if I were to redesign this card, I might actually make it more of a toxic like card. So instead of you getting power on your side, you steal power from the other side. I think that's maybe the route that I would go with it.
That's pretty good. I like that change. Like instead of adding power to other locations, what if it was like it takes -1 power from each adjacent one and adds it to its own or something like that?
Or even if it took like the -3 total power, not necessarily from each card, but total power from that area. That could also be an interesting kind of twist on the whole thing. though that might not work out with whole abomination. So maybe scaling it back to like a 2 or I think maybe a 1 from each location. Like if you're stealing it and bringing it to your side, that could actually be really interesting. Kind of a 2-point swing across the board.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool. Yeah, we won't go into the ancient text on this one because Don knows. I forgot he actually does suck energy or does he do like a rogue thing?
I don't think it's so much a rogue thing. Again, this is just coming from the deep, deep, dark places in my brain about nerddom. My understanding, he just pulls the energy. He gets a little bit stronger, but he doesn't actually steal their power.
Oh, okay. So he uses their life force or energy to power himself.
Yeah, and he's like the Russian version of Weapon X. So he was their kind of Cold War version of a Wolverine almost, right? A mutant bred for that kind of war type stuff.
I like that. I like that. I like the change. And I swear, if they changed his current effect to Mr. Fantastic, I feel like that would be an overall buff for both cards. Because Mr. Fantastic doesn't really see play. Yeah, and I feel like it's a really good card. But I think if you gave this effect to Mr. Fantastic, he'd be over the edge, man. He'd be using probably multiple ongoing decks.
Oh yeah.
Now the next card we have is the Beast change. So Beast change from a 3/4, 3 cost 4 power, and he changed to a 2/2, so a 2 cost 2 power, and he also had some text change. So basically, when you use Beast, you play it on the location, and then everything there returns to your hand, and it gets -1 cost. Now, it does the same thing, but only for the next turn. How do you guys feel this has changed bounce decks overall?
Just makes you think about that deck in the first place. So, like, that's one of those decks that you always have to pilot in such a way where you are being very, very careful about, okay, when do I play this card? When do I not play this card? I think the reduction of energy actually really helps in the sense that you get the ability to play him a little more freely and play other cards with him. I don't hate the change. I think it's just one of those things that for good players, it's going to help really good a lot. For bad players, it is going to be the bane of their existence. Dakota, what do you think?
It's the bane of my existence. I'm for me, dude, I never really played a lot of bounce to begin with, but I like what they did because it also changes up how people have been just smacking me left and right with their Iceman, and then they hit me again with the Spider Ham, and then they'll Falcon that back after, like they'll do that, then they beast it, and they do it again, and they Falcon, and it's like, man, this repetitive just getting smacked left and right. I like that they did it, so you got that one turn. Now with having Black Swan out, it's kind of something. There's a synergy there that's unique. Because I was watching like on other YouTubers when they were talking about these cards, the comments always made me laugh because it was like, "Oh, you don't need Black Swan if you know how to run Beast because this is blah blah blah." And it is funny because if you want to still run your Beast style, you get like 2 turns to run it with the new Black Swan into this. So I always am cool when they do these new stuff because usually it's going to help whatever new card is in the game now. And yeah, I mean, I never thought it was overpowered to begin with. I got annoyed when I would fight a lot of bounce decks, but thankfully most times I was fighting against bounce decks, I would normally not have too much problem winning. But this last one when Black Swan came out, I noticed I had to really start big braining these things before I was just confidently going like, aha, snap, I got your ass.
Okay, so I feel like bounce decks. It's kind of a nerf, but I feel like not having that the power reduced for the whole game kind of benefits the overall gameplay because it doesn't make things so broken, right? Like there was so many times where if you use Beast on the right card, having a card that's -1 of its cost is so effective throughout the whole game, especially since Beast was a 3 cost. So say if you played something on turn 1 or turn 2 that you could have minus power minus cost for it during the whole game, kind of like when let's say Kitty Pride was at its at its max power, it was making it broken because you could keep playing it every turn while adding other things onto the playing field, and it's basically a zero. What you could get it sometimes to like 80 because of what's that, the double the power every time you play it. So it was kind of breaking the game in that sense. But now that you have it where it's only one turn, you're kind of forced to play the cards next turn, right? Or else you kind of lose value in it. Now the game is all about valuing in power, right? So when you want to beat the other your opponent in power, you kind of need to maximize your energy efficiently. So I feel it's a nice change, but it overall, I would say personally it was a nerf.
Agreed.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
Okay. Now, the next thing that they changed, it wasn't really a card, but they did a bug fix with Scar where Wave was discounting Scar extra. So if you had a +10 card on the field, instead of 4 and you use Wave, it became 2. Do you guys think that was which it should have been as intended, or you think, or now they change it to it doesn't do that? Do you guys feel like that was a good change or bad change?
I think that's a good change. I mean, they've done these things with a lot of cards. So, for instance, what they did to She-Hulk, right?
Mm-hmm.
All those things used to discount for those kind of things. The simple fact that you don't get the same discounts for Scar as well as the others just makes sense. So everything just kind of stays at a 4 and goes from there. I actually kind of like that. That way you can't just get a 2 Scar without having meeting the criteria of having the card out on the field. So of having the other 10 cost card. So it seems a little overpowered if you can make that a 2 cost for really nothing.
How about
How
yourself,
about you?
Dakota?
Yeah, I'm on the same page, dude. Like, it's nice to just kind of keep it with the flow, what the text is saying to begin with. Like, they fixed it because it was broken. Like, I mean, you're getting that extra additional cost on this that reduce versus everything else. After a while, it's just like, it should follow the rules. It was cool, but I'm happy with it being, across the board how it should be.
Yeah, you know what? Now that you mentioned that, Don, I never even thought about that with She-Hulk, where Wave doesn't help She-Hulk anymore in that sense, or it doesn't help Death in that sense, right? So it shouldn't affect Scar. So I'm with you. I was like, oh, maybe it was a nerf, because it was nice that you could play Wave and then get a 2/11 Scar next turn, but that makes sense consistency wise throughout the whole game to make it just like She-Hulk or make it just like Death. So you know what? You swayed me.
You swayed it.
All right. So the next thing that they added were they added 2 new albums. So last week they added a Pixel Destroy album, and this week they added a Hip album. Now I know. I think you Dakota are the owner of an additional emote. How do you guys feel overall about these albums and how these emotes are kind of behind a paywall?
Honestly, I don't mind. This whole game kind of, while it's not behind the paywall, paying for stuff definitely helps, right? Uh, like a lot of games, you buy skins, buy those kind of things. In this game, you could still get all of those things if you save up. It's going to take you a heck of a lot longer to do it, but you know what? At least it's still available. Um, of the collections that I have, just kind of looking over them, a good chunk of the ones that I have come from either just pulling or the gold that I've gotten from doing on a regular basis. Like, um, I don't spend a lot of money on this game, right? I don't buy all the things through, yet I still have a pretty decent collection when it comes to all of these things. Um, so ultimately, I would say like I'd say a medium to low paying player. Um, I feel okay, and it's still another thing to work towards, right? And I get my little bonuses and extra cards, at my own pace.
All
How
right.
about you,
So,
Dakota?
as an owner of an extra emote, how do you feel about that, Dakota?
Well, I think that it depends on the albums because with Pixel, I'm depressed first because I got Pixel, and then I'm depressed again because it's not for the freaking album that I want. It's like, oh, it's got to be Destroy. Oh, they're only 12,000. Nice. So no, I'm not the biggest fan of the system that we have. I think that it needs to be changed a little bit to where the person that's not wanting to spend money can get it with a little bit more just by grinding and going through it. I think that's something that needs to be fixed for sure. Hey, I love the emotes. It's something I truly enjoy. If I kicked your butt and I can just do the vent and the throw that down on there, I got you, man. Like, ha! I love that stuff. So, if it's not that as She-Hulk, I hit them both now. If I got another emote, I hit all three. I'm one of those guys. So either you love me or hate me, but it's fun for me. So I like the emotes. I'm definitely not going to get the one from the Pixel, and I'm definitely not going to do any of the other ones because it ain't Venomized, and I'm done.
Well, okay. I just wanted to give you some stats. I wrote this down because I went through all the. Sorry, excuse me. I went through all the what are they called? The albums, and
Mhm.
I typically you get a free variant. If you are three, is it three free variants in the season pass? I think it's three free variants and then one premium variant. So we all know that premium variants can't be a pixel or it can't be a baby or chibi. I don't know if chibi. I think it can be baby. It can't be chibi or vice versa. It's one of those. But we know it can't be a pixel. So with that said, it still can be a 700 gold one. Most of the time you want that to be a 1200 gold sometimes, but most times than not, it's a 700 gold one. So with these stats, I just wanted to make a list of the albums that we have and how many 1200 gold variants you have to buy from it. So just looking at a collection alone, each album you need 12. You need 12 cards, right? So for the ggMarcLee album, out of the 12, half of them are 1200 gold variants. From the Hellfire Gala one, all of them are 1200 gold. From the Venomized Villains one is 8 of them are 1200 gold. From the Pandart one, 7 of them are 1200 gold. So the Destroy one, the Destroy Pixel, the Dan Hip ones, those two, all 700 gold. So we know from caches we can get 700 gold variants, right? We can't get the 1200 ones. So out of how many albums was that? I think it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Out of the 6 albums, you can get half of them just by opening caches and getting lucky. So that means that there's 3 emotes there you could practically get for free or just by playing the game. So how do you guys feel about that?
Like I said, I personally don't mind. I feel like this is just an add-on. Coming from where I have been or where the game was, this is just kind of an extra bonus, right? And I have an extra thing to be like, oh look, do I have that one? Or oh man, I got the pulling from my caches, right? Oh, I got this. Hey, that actually fits into one of my albums. That's kind of nice. Um, Personally, like I said, is this something that makes or breaks the game for me? No. I feel like it's just kind of one of those extra added bonuses. Dakota?
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's about the same for me too. Like, I I like the emotes. I like having the ability to do fun stuff like that. And there's a lot of variants that I think are cool. I'm gonna get a variant that I like, regardless of if it's an album or not. Like, I have a lot of Venomized that aren't in the albums, and I'm cool with it. Like, just because they're Venomized, I'm like, I want that. So, I don't mind it. If I could change anything, the gold caches on that we're pulling, I think that they should be able to get some of our 1,200 golds because why not? If you're
I'd
not going to
say,
let me get gold, then
yeah.
why can't we get premiums?
Yeah, so I'd say probably what would you say, every 20 you get a chance to get a premium. That
Yeah,
wouldn't be bad, right? I
no,
mean,
I'm down with that.
yeah, you still have a chance to get a 1,200 gold one, but well, statistics still work. Yeah, statistics still work against you. So I mean,
Yeah.
you're given a chance, but I guess it's nice that if you buy, you know, the pass for the season, you get one premium variant. I mean, at least they give that to us.
That's all well and good. I still think they should change things around. Kind of like how before things changed around, you could still get like a Series 5 card just by pulling on the caches too. Like there should be a little bit more reward for grinding through this game. Like for sure. That there's a few things I need to work on. If I'm not getting gold from my variants, you better give me something besides a dadgum Dan Hip, bro. I am sick of Dan Hip. I'm had enough of that nonsense.
I will say that the if you reach infinite, there isn't a lot of grinding you can do, right? So like the only other grinding you could probably do is conquest. So or if you
Just
want to
get a
get
border.
higher in the ladder, your ladder ranking. But a lot of people once they reach infinite, that's it for them. It's like, "Oh, you know what? I reached infinite, I'm good." So I'll just continue to slave away in conquest, but I just feel like there isn't a lot of benefit for actually grinding in this game, like continuously playing this game, unless you have missions, unless you buy missions. But then again, that's where we're talking from like a free to play standpoint. There's nothing really benefiting you from grinding away playing this game, which a lot of games, like say, I'm just whipping a game out of there, just like Call of Duty. You grind to level up your guns, right? Or
Yep.
to get attachments. But here,
hmm
you're kind of grinding just say if you want to reach infinite. Once you're at infinite, then the grind, like I said, is to get better ranking or, you don't even get a lot from grinding conquests. More boosters at the end of the day. That's about it.
hmm For whatever that card is that's on specific, like you're getting, you don't get to pick and choose. You're like, oh, cool, it's only going to be Gamora this season. All the boosters are going to be Gamora. It's not terrible, but at the same time, I wouldn't mind getting towards, hey, Nico, I've been trying to beef up Nico for how long? I've been playing that card forever. And yet I'm over here with like 90 boosters. What's going on?
Yeah, I will. They did mention that pretty soon they're gonna allow you to select the card that you might get the boosters for. So,
Huge.
that's in the coming soon, but
Mhm.
we don't know when that is coming. So moving on, we have new um, This is something new that they've done. It's an event called the Galactic Carnival. So from the 7th to the 17th, you log in, or you get some of these masks, right? By logging into the game, by winning 5 matches, and by winning 10 matches. And so you could do this daily to get these masks to unlock. So the unlockables are 200 credits, 200 gold, gold conquest tickets, and a mystery variant at the end. I think it's like 35 total masks. Now, this is something new that they've actually, I think, if I'm not mistaken, this is something new that they haven't done before. Like, they've never done events where, like, you had to collect random tokens in the game to unlock things. If I'm not mistaken, can you guys think of anything?
I mean, I really love this as well. Like, it's another, like we were talking about before, with those bonuses. The simple fact that they have this thing that is almost not directly in the game. You know, it's slightly outside of the game. It's kind of nice. It's almost set missions every day, right? Hey, did I log in? Did I make sure I got my 5 or 10 wins in? You know, it's just an extra way to get just a little bit further, especially for those free to play players.
I wanna jump into something that you just said. It's kind of like not in the game. It's kind of out of the game. So
Mhm.
the thing the gripe I have about this is it's a great event, right? But there's nothing to prompt you to, like, hey, collect your stuff over here. Don't forget, because
Yeah,
like you said, you have to log in every day. Sometimes my game runs in the background on my phone, so I'm still in the game. But when I get back into the game doesn't restart. So but it doesn't prompt me to be like, hey, collect your stuff. You
Mhm.
won this, or you're done doing this mission. Don't forget to collect this stuff. No, you have to go out of your way to find it in the news tab to make sure you click it and then collect your free stuff. I think it could have been better designed, probably put in its own tab. That way it's ease of access to the players that are actually, like I said, putting the grind into the game. Like, winning 10 games is, pretty tough. With most decks being like, if it's a good deck, it's a 50% win rate, So that's
Ooh,
that's how you know it's a good deck. So
preach it.
so how
yeah,
about
it's almost like, hey, did I accept my side quest today? Did I make sure to go, forbidden hallway
yeah.
or make sure that I got my gold coin?
Mhm. Yeah, so like, even the other event, I'm gonna do this before Dakota, you do your spiel on it. So the other event was the one starting on the 11th and it ends on the 17th. Same thing as the Galactic Carnival, and it's just basic daily login rewards, right? So you get 200 gold the first day, 65 sunspot boosters, 200 credits, a title, sunburnt all over, then 250 credits, 250 gold, 250 credits, and then at the very end, a premium mystery variant. Now, this is the one that I missed on the very first day
Mhm.
because I had my phone on and it never prompted me to collect my login reward because I didn't close the game and then open it up again. Now, what are your thoughts on not only the event, Dakota, but like stuff like that goes on, like on the side?
I think it needs to. First of all, it doesn't even look like anything we've seen in the game. Like, just the layout on how it's run, it doesn't have the similar drop downs like we have when we're in our collectors. And I think it's a kind of a funny thing to look at it the way it is now because you really don't feel like you're in the game when you're looking at this menu or drop down. So that's something they should probably fix, is to have it match. Yeah, I get it. It's a whole different theme and stuff, but how the buttons operate, how it looks, it should be different because the other day I was on it and I was like looking at it. I go, oh wait, did I not collect this? It's blue. I go, hang on, let me claim this. I think that there's some stuff that they screwed up on with that. It definitely doesn't prompt you to do stuff. And I will say this: about a week ago, I went on Clash of Clans again when I was sitting in traffic. I'm like, oh, why not? Let's do this. This doesn't take as much brain energy as Marvel Snap. Let's go for it. And what I thought was funny was looking at this map style and how everything is run on this what's it called? What's the name of this thing again?
Marvel Snap.
No, I'm talking about the event. Yeah, what game are we playing? What is this game? Whatever the event's called.
So
What
there's
is it?
the Galactic Carnival and the daily login rewards.
There you go. That one. Yeah, both of those. It has a similar style to Clash of Clans drop menus. And I looked at it, I'm like, this looks just like that. It's kind of funny. So yeah, I think that they need to have some synergy within their own game because I don't really much appreciate the fact that you're not getting your variant, the fact that no one's really aware of what's going on, and it's funny because normally when something happens, there's a big explanation and what's going on and what to do, and it's like, oh, we really didn't get that in this. It just kind of happened. It was like, okay, cool, this is a new thing in the game, awesome. Like I don't know, but yeah, in my mind, I'm not even thinking about it until it's like, oh shoot, I gotta collect that. So I think they can do better with that. If there's something they're testing out, keep working on it, keep moving. Because I know it's just the cool thing about this game is they see how it gets responded to and they fix it. So I'm cool with it. But
Yeah,
yeah, they need to work on that.
at least the daily login rewards has its own screen because it kind of cycles the title screen, and then you'll see like, oh, okay, I didn't collect that today. And if you click on it, it'll say, oh, you haven't collected, you have the next collection is in so and so many hours, right? But
Mhm.
there's no like they're known for that red little dot that says, hey, don't forget this because you earned
Like,
it.
hey, hello.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, you've earned it. You actually logged on. Don't forget this because
Mhm.
it's yours. Now, for I don't know if it's my fault or not for not closing the game because I love playing the game. I didn't close it. I'm sorry. That, and on top of that, I was under the weather, so I was just like, I'll just leave it running, and I left my phone charged and whatnot, so it wasn't dying or anything, but and until the next day where like I said, I wasn't under the weather, so I didn't open it until past 11 because I was like, 11's when the good stuff comes.
Mhm.
So I know they also announced all this stuff at the beginning of the season, but people are forgetful, right? Like
Oh yeah.
I don't know when you lay out your plan. I'm not setting the date on my phone, so I think it's their prerogative to let their players know that, hey, yeah, this is starting. Just like the push notifications, send something.
Oh yeah.
I don't think the daily
Can't can't.
yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
I don't think the daily login was prompted at all with a push notification. So
Mm-mm.
that's very interesting. Any additional criticisms or praises that you guys want to add on to this one?
Nah, I got
Okay.
Yeah, I think we hit it on the head.
All right. So the next,
What's the name of this game?
I was just like Marvel Snap.
Forgettable. I'm just kidding.
So the next thing is there is a thing on the Marvel Snap web shop. So they are selling a just money alone, can't use gold. The Rocker Wong skin or variant because of this event. So the Galactic Carnival, one of the options or additional quests that you could do is play with one of the two variants for this event to get like two additional masks or something to reach that thing. But I was just like, there's one thing, it's like to play with a specific variant. I get playing with a specific card, but playing with a specific variant is kind of on the next level. Now, what do you guys think about that?
honestly, I feel like that's a whale problem. in the sense that, like, people who buy all that stuff, why not get those extra things, right? I personally, as a very small porpoise, don't really have a patience, but I don't know. What do you guys think?
Why'd you have to call me out like that?
Well, okay. I just want to say, I think there's whales, and then we're like manatees, and then Don's like a dolphin.
Except for Drunk Dakota.
The Drunk Dakota is a whale.
Drunk Dakota is rich as hell. He is an orca. He gets down to business. He's on back sometimes. Not proud of it.
So what do you how do you feel about them actually, like, I mean, it's 2 extra masks, but it's kind of an oddity that they've kind of built into the, well, something new that they built into the game, where it's just like, hey, use this specific variant to kind of get a little bit more.
It's interesting. I mean, it's kind of a cool take on stuff. It's an interesting thing to see what direction they're going to move towards. It reminds me, like you mentioned Call of Duty, it reminds me of like how to prestige your weapon. Like what's the benefits of me playing with this card? Why do you want me to play this card instead of this one? I'm cool with it if you're gonna get, some better stuff because you're doing this specific style. The only thing that's gonna suck is, and I'll be very honest with this, if I end up having to play a whole thing of chibis or babies or Dan hips or pixel, I'm gonna be mad. I'm like, no, I don't wanna, why do I have these awesome variants and I'm over here playing with these babies, man? Forget that. That's a hard no for me. Thank you.
I agree. I mean, when they start dictating what you should, what variant you should play, that's kind of a tough sell. I mean, the face of the event is Sunspot. It's just like, hey, add Sunspot into your game. I mean, 2 masks don't make a difference. You're still gonna finish the if you finish the log into the game, win 5 matches, win 10 matches. If you finish that throughout the whole, I think 7 days or 10 days, you should easily complete it. But for them to add that little kind of, like I said, oddity, to be like, oh, hey, play with this specific variant. It's such a weird niche.
Yeah. I get saying the card because I mean just like the weekend things that they do, like, oh yeah, I'd play or win 10 games with Scar in your deck. Like that makes sense. Cool, I'm down with that. But when you tell me I gotta play a chibi, I'm out. That needs to be fixed. That's a weird move.
Yeah, definitely a weird move on their end. But I guess it's it's something they're trying. So it's nice to see they're trying different things. Not staying stale. Of course the weekend missions are stale. You kind of know it's going to be the new card and the what is it? The card of the month, right? What do you call it? The season card. So the season card and then the card of the week. You're going to have to use those 2 cards to get gold, tokens, and then there's a random one that you'll get credits for. So it's kind of,
we play the game, guys. We promise.
Yeah.
It's just on the spot, hard to remember anything about this game.
My brain is talking faster than my mouth, so I'm just like, I'm trying to find words for it. Now we get to the good parts, right? So the last week, we mentioned the cards of the week, which were Supergiant and Black Swan. Now, kind of a review of this week. While playing with those cards last week, how do you guys feel about Black Swan?
Honestly, I kind of feel this week the way I felt last week. I feel like it's a really niche card, right? In order to get good usage out of it, you really have to have a bunch of 1 cost in your hand. The only deck that works well out with gonna be your bounce decks. You can kind of play it in a Thanos deck, but not to a ton of success. I messed around a little bit on the Zoo deck. At the end of the day, I love the card. I know some people enjoy it a lot more. Personally, I still, on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm still somewhere around a 6 probably on the card. Just not really my deal of fun.
So
How about
for
you?
me, I really didn't play with it too much. It was something to say, okay, I got to check this card out. Let's see what we got going on here. Again, I'm not the bounce player. That's not my style. I tried it with the zoo. The zoo works really well with it. It's kind of fun. I just took out Blue Marvel and said, let's go with this power. See what we got. Let's have some fun here. It was fun, but honestly, it's not a game breaking card. It's not something that I'm like, oh, I need to put this in all my stuff. And yeah, like playing it past the first week, unless there's some deck that really synergizes well with it, and I have to hop on the bounce style. I don't really see playing this card too much. No.
Okay, so I did test this card quite a bit. I do like it in like what Don mentioned, is a bounce deck, but the problems that you run into are basically your draw power, right? So when you can't draw a lot of cards, you don't really have the ammo to utilize this effect to its fullest. Now, when they had the hot location, which, it was draw 2 cards, was probably like a day ago, it was really good because you play this down, your 1 cost cards cost 0, so you play all your 1 costs, then you beast them back into your hand, and then next turn they're still 0. You play Black Swan, you play 2 other 1 cost cards, or you play Black Swan, next turn you play like 2 1 cost cards on its lane, you beast that, Black Swan comes back into your hand, and you could play it the next turn as well. So it was really fun to kind of like keep playing those cards. The kind of deck I used it in was like a excuse me, a bounce move deck. So it utilized Ghost Spider, it utilized Iron Fist, and basically you would bounce those cards back into your hand. That way the card that you're moving is coming also. You could use it with the specialty, of course, was Human Torch, or you would use it with Dagger, which, Dagger would stay back on the field, but if you beast her, she'll come back to your hand. Now, that was really fun to use with the hot location, which is draw 2 cards. But like I said, a deck like that, it really misses out when you can't draw cards. So how do you guys feel about I know, Don, you gave it a star rating. You said it was a 6 out of 10?
I would say ultimately I'd sit about 6 out of 10, just because it fits into really one deck, but it's not one of those cards that you're going to check into very many decks around.
What would you rate it, Dakota?
I'd probably put it around the 5 to a 4. For when it's working good. You have a good lineup, but kind of like you already mentioned, when you don't have that, you're struggling. So I put it there about 4 or 5.
Okay, I'd put it like I'd agree kind of with Don where it's at a 6. Really fun card. If you can get the pieces that you need, I've had games where I thought I won because I was making plays and whatnot. But there's one card that is the bane of my existence right now, is Shang-Chi, right? I guess the decks that you can use this in, you should run a, what is it called? What's the one that protects 1s and 6s? Kyera. Yeah, so I think in some of those decks, you'd want to use Kyera.
Puppy in the background, sorry.
No, I know. So, like, not being able to utilize Kyera in that kind of deck kind of spoiled it, because I got, Dagger it doesn't protect Dagger, but, you could get Dagger high with a deck like that, or even, what was it, a Human Torch. But, of course, Killmongers are out there. If they read you right, Shang-Chi's out there. So, That was the only the only downfall to those decks is you could get your one cost cards really high, but if you got a Killmonger out there, good luck.
Mm-hmm.
So now the next card we have that came out last week was a Super Giant. Now, why don't you lead us off on how you did with this card, Don, and what kind of decks you ran her in?
Honestly, I played around very little. Um, this card really didn't appeal a lot of deck building like ideas. Um, I've mainly seen it as a defensive card to keep you from being hit from the leeches that are prevalent and all over the place out there. But even that, you start to see less and less leeches out there. Um, Overall, I'd probably give this one a 5. I really haven't found a whole lot of fun things to do with it. Um, in defense of the card a little bit, though, I have been fighting for my life on the ladder. So, I haven't had the time to dedicate to some of the other things.
I've had some fun with it on Conquest. Same thing with Don. I'm fighting for my life on ladder right now. I'm not risking losing any cubes to some people that I don't really understand how to run Super Giant yet. So in Conquest, it was really fun. The decks that I was running was a very controlled, toxic type of a build, something that was really the plain line always ended with, oh, let's do absorbing man, let's do Eliath, right? So you throw her down, and you hit out absorbing, and then you end out with Eliath, and they would just pick it up, and that was awesome. I mean, your main thing is getting prio. We talked earlier about crossbones could work pretty well with here, and there's some matches where she ended up being on 5, and so I wasn't able to run it the way that I just mentioned, like the initial play line. But because you're gaining your prio and you can kind of see where they're going to go from there, you have an ability to really stop them. Most times I won, it was against Nihilist decks, which really worked, really was smooth. It was awesome to see because all these were the classic junk deck that I was doing too. Now I ruined their Jane Foster. They're not getting the hammers in time. They're not getting any of this, and then too late I already Eliath you. It's over. So I liked it. It's fun. Once I get into Infinite, I want to run it on the ladder a little bit, or we'll see if I can get this thing where I feel a little more confident on Conquest with it, because it was like maybe it wasn't very high win rates. I've lost a lot more in Conquest than anything else, but it was still fun to run. So I like the card. I think it has some potential with cards moving up, and just maybe as we get more time, it could just be a slow burn that'll pop off eventually. But yeah, I enjoyed it.
I agree. It has that control feeling, but the thing is, if this card is very I don't know what this word. It's a very dominant card to put in your deck, right? Because it serves a certain purpose. So, say if you Zabu, you play it on 3, you're blocking something that's on turn 4, right? But normally you play it on turn 4, you're blocking something on turn 5 because that's where the Sarahs come in, that's where the leeches come in, like Don mentioned, that's where the Jane Fosters come in, like you mentioned, Dakota. So it's something that you kind of do want to play on a turn 4 because turn 5 is like people prepping to do that stuff, right? So when your deck kind of is meant to counter a turn 5, when you don't draw this card, it's very detrimental.
Mm-hmm.
So because your deck is kind of built to play to win on a turn 6, right? So
Yeah.
like when you do that and you're like, okay, I want to hide this, but you kind of got no way to do that now when you have Super Giant. Now you could probably what is it? Complement it with probably Invisible Woman, but that doesn't stop your opponent. It just does, the stuff that you want to do. But with Eliath ever relevant in this meta, I've been seeing Eliath almost consistently. Like people have been running him as like a tech card or something, like the old days. So like for him being relevant in this location, having cards face down, very scary.
Oh, I'm right there with you. And so I'm getting Eliath in a deck that doesn't even make sense. Like I fought a bounce deck It was using Black Swan. Out of nowhere, I got Elias, and I was like, "What are you doing? How is this happening to me?"
Like, it
Yeah,
worked,
he's
but what
alive
the
and well
heck?
in the weirdest way.
It's like, you got me. What the heck?
Yeah, listen, how did this happen? How did you get Prio? What is
Yeah.
happening right now?
Now, before we go onto the last subject, which is the upcoming, the card of this week, how are you guys? You know, I know you guys mentioned it quite a few times. How are you guys doing on the ladder?
Man, I'll tell you, like the first couple of days of this season, are probably the worst I've played in my entire life. I could not move out
Your
of bed.
entire Marvel Snap life.
Yes. No, no, I'm my life period. Marvel Snap is my life. Could not.
I am
I
Marvel
couldn't
Snap.
get out of a paper bag. I mean, I go up 4 cubes, I go down 8 cubes. I'd win a bunch of games and then only get like 1 or 2 from each, and then I just lose. So eventually, I just went back to the classic destroy deck, and I've been grinding my way up. Made 93 today, and I'm
Yes.
hoping to be at my infinite rank by
All right. All right. How you doing, Dakota?
You can skip me. No, I'm just kidding. I'm at 86 right now. I got into the 80s pretty quickly, no problem. I was like, all right, this is going to go well. This last weekend, a lot of stuff hit the fan. Didn't have time to really do much. Gig life is taking over. So I played enough just to like get. It was funny. I was playing like the 2 missions every time I got them, so that way I was like able to at least okay. I'm gonna get 2 at this time. I'm not gonna lose the ability to not have my cubes or my what do you call it? My boosters and everything else coming in. Like, okay, we're good. We got this. Got my credits. That's what I'm looking for. That's the word. See, and yeah. So 86 right now. I to get into the 80s, I was running the Thanos, and then I switched over from Thanos back to my old junk deck that I was having some good times with. But man, Eliath has been kicking my butt on that, so I'm like, I gotta switch this up again. We're talking to Don today, and he was like, "Yo, I'm having some fun with Destroy." I said, "Get out of here, man! That's my favorite. I'm gonna have some." So I had some fun with that one right there, and it's been a good time since then. Because I was just chilling at 84, 83, and now I'm finally like I'm 86. Things are moving again. Hopefully, I'll be in the 90s soon. And I'm hoping to be in the Infinite World, but we all know how that's gonna go. I'll be there probably the last day, but that's okay. I'll be, it's fine. It's fine.
Well, we used to have a running joke where it's like, I can't make infinite until Dawn reaches 90. So, but
Not even-
I know. I think last month that's when I kind of broke that curse. But this season, basically, like because we work a 7 to 5:30 job. Basically, my plan is always on Tuesday, try to make it to 80. On Wednesday, try to make it to 90. On Thursday, try and make it to infinite, right? So by the time the weekend comes, I can be like, okay, I'm in infinite. Now, this season has been crazy. I mean, this has probably been the easiest I've gotten to infinite. And it's not because, my play was better. Wait, what happened?
Must be nice. Must be nice.
No, I just think, like a lot of people were being very risky on the first day, right? Because everybody wants to do, first day, right?
Mhm.
I think I made it within the 24 hours of the first day, but I didn't make it the first day. So, which is completely fine to me. I think by the time I got home, I was probably 85. And then I was just like, you know what? I'll just try to make it to 90. Ended up making it to 90. So, of course, it bumps you up to 93. I was like, I was kind of being stingy at that point. I was like, I'll just go 95. 95, Got down to 91. And I was like, okay, I'll end my night if I could just make it back to 93. So make it to 93. By the morning, I make it to 95, and then before the 11 o'clock, I think by like 8 o'clock, or 9 or something like that, I made it to infinite. So it was easy this month. I'm telling you guys, you always say I'm going to always make it, but I tell you, some month there's going to be no time for me to play or something like that, or, I'm going to miss it, and it's going to take me probably the whole month to do it, because I feel like the longer you're out of it, the harder it is. So.
We'll find out. We'll find out in like 4 years, maybe.
I mean, I've missed 1 month, but
it was It was a very busy month for you, though. And eventually something like that's gonna happen to me where I'm just gonna be tied down with something, But when real life has to come before Marvel Snap and not vice versa, then that's gonna be when it hits me. All right. So now we get into the nitty gritty of this week, which, we are kind of late on this because we usually do it on Sunday or Monday, but we all were able to pull for Cull Obsidian. Now, how many keys did it take us?
Took me 1.
Oh, okay. I know we all pull, but let the audience know. How about yourself, Dakota?
How many do I have left? What'd you say?
No. How many did it take?
Oh, let's see. 4.
Okay, so I really enjoy the alternate variant for this one. So I actually bought the card, and I wanted to pull for the variant. Now I'm on Dakota's level where it took me 4 as well. Now, the card says, I actually want to go into Cull Obsidian for a little moment. I want to read some stuff. So we're going to go into I was trying to go into the ancient text. This is a Marvel encyclopedia that I got from Target. And it basically has almost every character in this encyclopedia from Marvel. I did look into it, and Cull Obsidian's not in it.
What the?
So he's actually such a side character that he's only mentioned under the Black Order. Or is it the Black Order? Yeah.
Children of Thanos.
Yeah, Children of Thanos. So he doesn't even have his own section of in the book. And on top of this, I just did some research on this. His other name is Black Dwarf.
Oh.
Yeah. So
like a star.
Yeah.
Blue dwarf?
Yeah, dwarf, like a mystical creature or a dwarf star.
Yeah, blue dwarf.
Yeah.
Blue. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's kind of funny because, dwarves are known in mystical creatures are known to be short. This guy's huge. So I just want to read some stuff. So this is so Cull Obsidian, aka Black Dwarf. Just some of his powers, basically. So basically, he has superhuman strength. He has superhuman durability, superhuman speed, and superhuman stamina, and then regenerative healing factor. So it's not like fast like Wolverine, but he just heals faster than normal, which is kind of funny because I feel like all these things are just like AKA just better than humans, right? Yeah.
Enhanced.
Yeah, enhanced, like with everything.
Enhanced.
Like it's not special in any case, but he's just better because he's not human. He's a I don't know what his race is. It doesn't actually go into like the race he is, but or the how Thanos picked him up or anything, but it just says he's part of Thanos's kids. Maybe they theorize that maybe he was like Gamora, where he was on a planet. His planet got half of them killed, and then he just like Thanos picked him up. He's like a son of Thanos or whatever.
Mm.
So his card reads though is you can only play this card where you have a 1-cost card, and he's a 4-cost, 10 power. Now, what kind of decks will you run him in, and how do you feel about this card, Don?
You know, leading into this month, I didn't feel super strong about this card. But after kind of messing around and doing some theory crafting, I'm really kind of excited about this card because meet his, play um, requirement is really, really easy, right? There aren't a lot of decks that are not running a cost card, right? And to get a 4/10 on the field to do that is just really pretty simple. So here's what I came up with. I'm actually going with a Scar Moon Girl Cull Obsidian deck. Okay. I'm going to try and cheat out as many Scars as I possibly can, right? In addition to that, in there, I'm going to have a Tuma with armor. I'm going to have Sentry with like a Viper to try to get that across. I'm also going to put Zero in there to try to knock out some of the negative effects of some of the cards that are sitting there. The goal is to get as many 10-cost cards on the field as possible and just reduce that Scar, Moon Girl, and you can probably get some pretty decent spread 10 power.
What are the 1-costs you're running there besides Zero?
What the one cost? I was looking at Quinjet, right? That way, when Moon Girl pops off, you're going to get those at a discount price. I'm also putting Nebula in there. I put Cyclock in the deck just to see if we can cheat out one of those 4 costs a bit earlier, as well as Zabu, who's going to get those 4 costs in a little bit. So a little ways to cheat out those 10 costs and get the 10 costs on the field early.
Sounds like a nifty deck. So, how about yourself, Dakota? Are you thinking about running this in anything?
So I did a little play testing with it because again, after we talked about Destroy, I'm like, let's run this. Let's have some fun. I took Forge out, threw him in just for the LOL because I was like, hey, why not Venom this fool, on turn 5, and then just my end play is like, let's Arnhem this guy and boom boom. And that's been working really well because I'm already hitting up my 1-cost. Like I got Deadpool in that lane, or I got Nico in that lane. Throw him down, Venom, next move. Like it worked pretty well so far. I've only run a couple of games like that. I haven't decided to build an entire thing around the guy just yet. Again, still fighting for my life on the ladder. So I wanted to mess around a little bit more on Conquest though with him and just see how it goes.
Okay, so the only deck I have tested him, very basic, is in Thanos. And I feel like he is a really good card. I mean, like Don mentioned, he's basically like a Sentry without the downside, right? He just has a prerequisite of having a 1-cost card where most of Thanos, you're playing those cards anyways. So in that deck that you mentioned on, it feels like it's a very it's very like fluent or not fluid. So it's very fluid in the way that you talked about it. So I don't know. I might look into that too, or I'll talk to you tomorrow about theory crafting something like that. Sounds interesting.
Yeah, I've only got to run 1 or 2 games with it. It worked well. I went 1-on-1 with it, but I think it has a lot of potential. Like you start figuring out, okay, what cards are essential? What can I pull out? You don't have to worry about something like Wave, where you give them a chance to put power on their field, right? I really like the way it feels right now. It's just about learning the little ins and outs as you play the game.
Yeah, because cards that you mentioned, like what is it, a Tuma, you will need that armor. The Sentry, you either lose the right or you send it over with what is her name, Viper.
Nihilus. Oh, Viper?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's huge too.
I have Viper in there, though a Nihilus might be another option, right?
Yeah.
Which I might think about.
Yeah. The thing is, theory crafting something like this, there's like so many options you can do. And to actually think of like building a deck that has no connection to Thanos, I applaud that. That's pretty cool.
I was also wondering too, like, what about a Shiri build with him into that with like some Taskmaster action? I mean, getting a 20 out on the field is a force to be reckoned with too. I mean, that's your infinite play. That's what a lot of people push for when they're doing their big throwdown. If you're able to do something like that quickly, that's awesome. Kind of interesting to see if that's possible.
The only downside I see to that is, say you play in a Shuri style deck, say with what's his name? What's the
Sauron or
Sauron, yeah, Sauron, right? It has no
Sauron.
effect on him. The only one cost cards you play in that are Zero and Ebony Maw. And if you don't get Sauron down, Ebony Maw is kind of useless unless you play him, well, unless you play Zero first, right? Because there's no way you could play him and then something else, because he locks the location. So that's the only downside I see to that. But
What about Shauna?
who?
What is she at? Shauna?
Oh, Shauna. She's a 3 what?
3/2.
3/2.
3/2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you get a 1 in each location. That's a not bad strategy. You know? Like I said, 410 is nothing to scoff at, right? The only thing is, like I said, Shang-Chi is so relevant. Now, if you're going wide, that's another decision. But typically, right, you're trying to win 2 lanes. So when you're trying to read where that Shang-Chi is going to go, at some point you have to try and win all 3 lanes, right? Because you don't want a Shang-Chi to be played and then like, oh, I did lose that lane. Now it's kind of hard to, if you're going to lose that lane, you have to win the other 2. So it's kind of like you have to go wide.
Yeah.
So how do you guys feel about this state of the game at the moment?
I feel it's good. Like, I mean, one thing about the game is there's never a set meta. Like, it's always kind of shifting. While there are decks that stay relevant, like, getting to play my destroyed deck again, right? It's nice to be able to play like a classic. Hey, most of these cards are cards that you could get early on, right? Before you have any money, you're going to have most of these cards in your deck, right? I kind of like it. I'm competing here with an earlier build deck. But there's also these new kind of exciting, hey, I just got this new card. Let's play with it. Let's see what we can pull off and go from 2. So really good. You're fighting a bunch of different types of decks as you're playing through the ladder. I know I'm like, oh, I have oh, okay. Yeah, I've seen that. But then you're like, wait, but no, there's another one. And you're not, unlike, let's say, the Loki season where you're fighting nothing but Loki, right? This one has been one where you're getting a wide variety of decks that you're playing against, which I think is great for the game. Also frustrating.
How about yourself, Dakota?
Yeah. I agree with Don on that one. There's a lot of fluidity between all the different decks you're running into. It's kind of interesting. It's nice to see that there's so many different things coming up. I haven't ran into a Sauron. I haven't ran into a Sauron deck in a long time. I ran into one today. I was like, oh, shoot, like this is still on about. I'm not the only one that did a Destroyer deck for a little bit, messing around with Omega Red. I saw him show up too, and I was like, all right, we got this. Nimrod's still out and about. The Phoenix Force is out and about. There's a lot of good stuff moving around out there with some solid play lines, and it's cool to see that you can just pick one that you want to play. You're not going to be pigeonholed to only being like able to win with only doing this right now. I feel like the meta is wide and there's not one set thing, which is, it's refreshing. It's nice, like, okay, cool. The deck I'm running can fight and win a lot of different styles. I'm not going to lose because I'm fighting a Sandman or whatever. Like, it's like, I could still win this. This is no problem. So I like it. I think there's a lot of chances to just kind of have fun, which is the whole point of the game.
Yeah, I think Don summed it up really well with that one word, frustrating. I feel like it's good though, because the deck stays fresh, right? Because every week you're adding a new card, which I also think sometimes it might be a little much because of new players. But I just feel like, the veteran players or the players, close to veteran status, they need something to keep that fresh. Now, if they could help the new players get cards faster, I'm all for that because it opens up the competition factor, right? And this game is fun because it's competitive. So I think that having a new card every week is nice because, like, again, reiterate, that makes the game stay fresh. It changes the meta. It doesn't pigeon, like Dakota said, it doesn't pigeonhole anybody to play, I got to play this deck to stay relevant. I could play what I want and still have fun and excel. So now, I know I said that was the last thing, but there was something that came in today. I just want to reread it. I haven't read it. I read it earlier, but I haven't read it on the podcast. So there is tomorrow is Valentine's Day, and they came out with a Valentine's Day kind of short event. It's going to last, let's see. I guess it's going to last the whole week. Until February 20th. So it started at 10 a.m. today. It ends February 20th at 10 a.m. And so basically there's going to be couples powering up each other. So I'm just going to read them out just so that everybody's aware. So Angela and Sarah, if they're on wherever they're at, they get a boost of +1 power if you play one of them. Black Panther and Nakia, +1 power. Captain America and Agent 13, +2 power. Gambit and Rogue, +2 power. Invisible Woman and Mr. Fantastic, +2 power. Iron Man and Rescue, +1 power. Miles Morales and Ghost Spider, +1 power. She-Hulk and Daredevil, +2. Star-Lord and Gamora, +1. And Vision and Scarlet Witch, +1. Do any of those, like, scream out at you, like, I should be playing this?
I think there's only one there that I think makes any sense, and that's Rogue and Gambit, right?
I'm sorry, who was that one?
Rogue and Gambit. So you could see a discard deck with a Rogue sitting in there just to steal a ongoing card out there. I could see building something that works in the back end.
Mm-hmm.
The rest of them really seems like a minor. This could help you. Not really synergistic. I mean, let's be honest. Like Agent 13 and probably one of the cards needs to be fixed. Captain America together.
Yeah.
Right. Like, who's gonna play that? Nobody. Unless I get extra masks in that case. But overall, I think it's a minor thing. There's nothing in there that's super powered. But I think that's the couple, the Rogue and the Gambit couple, that I would consider playing and messing around.
How about you, Dakota? Does anything scream off the page that, I could build something with that?
I liked the old move style deck for a split second when we were in the Spider-Man season. I had a good time playing that. That was one of those seasons I got into Infinite kind of early, which was awesome. And I got to really just have fun and be like, wow, why don't I play move more often? This is fun. And I never did it again. It was just like, that's cool and all, whatever. This last season when we got an Infinite playing the Kingpin style move, toxic, whatever, I thought about it. I'm like, hey, I enjoyed having that move effect again. Like, I'm getting obsessed with Magneto's effect. He really is a game changer on some of these people that are just really relying on that 4/3 that's just sitting there. You can just yoink, that's gone, bye-bye. So it's kind of cool. There's a lot of playability in my mind with that. If I was to dive and move, it'd be fun. But I don't really see a lot of the stuff that's jumping up the page.
So you're saying Miles Morales and Ghost Spider?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind. If I was to do something, that'd be cool to do that. With Don said, yeah, I'm with you on the Gambit and Rogue too. I didn't even think about the possibility of discard, but yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah, so I was also looking through this list, and it seems like the ones that get +2 power are more of the ones that are like, they're not really powered enough, so they should get +2. So the +2 ones are like Captain America and Agent 13, Invisible Woman and Mr. Fantastic, which they don't see any play really because of Alioth, right? She-Hulk and Daredevil. Kind of like you don't really have synergy there. Whereas the ones where like you have more synergy, or they're both cards can be placed as tech cards in other decks. They only have the +1 power, so which makes sense, right? Because you don't want to overpower most of these cards. Like the Iron Man and Rescue one kind of sounds fun, right? Like you have Rescue on turn 4, and then you play Iron Man on her. That's a lot of power, right? So that two card combo alone could probably win you a lane, because Rescue will get 9 power. Iron Man will get +1. She'll get +1. So you have 11 power in that lane. That's 22 power. So that's not bad for a side event. I'm glad they're doing more things out of the realm and more event based, right? Or holiday based. I don't know. Is Valentine's Day celebrated all over the world?
No idea.
Yeah, I was just like, because I'm like, I know in the U.S. we do. So it is kind of like, say if they don't overseas, they're like, oh, what is Valentine's Day? But it's nice that they're kind of like shedding light, and they're doing something new for the game. Kind of like what we mentioned before, the events that they're putting on. So I hope they do more of this stuff in the future. Like I said, I hope they make it more aware. Like they did with this one. It was great. They sent you a push notification. Hey, there's something new that we just did. And then it's like, oh, cool. Like I'm notified. Now, hopefully they can do that like that more in the future.
Yeah,
Now,
something like a Groot powered up on Arbor Day.
well, what is it? Groot. Yeah. So it's like, that'd be pretty funny. He gets what is it? Instead of +3, he gets like +5 or something like that.
Yeah, he just kind of spreads out like Squirrel Girl.
Oh, like Grootlings or something like that.
Groots.
Spreading.
That's pretty funny, because it'd be funny if it was like he spreads out Grootlings, but the only plus power you get are the ones wherever the opponent played their cards. So that'd be pretty funny. Now, is there anything else you guys wanna add, or is there anything you think I missed?
Nah, I think this was great. I look forward to us getting back to our battles when we have not a million cards to go over.
Yeah,
And, thanks again for kind of being with us.
of course.
Yep. Yeah, same. Thanks for watching. We appreciate you, and thank you, Mark, for editing and doing all the hard work and just letting us sit here and talk and then say good night when we're done. So we appreciate you very much, and just thank you to anyone who's watching and enjoying along with us.
All right. Well, you heard from them. Thank you guys who's watching. If you get a chance, leave us a comment. Follow us on Instagram. Listen to the podcast on Spotify if you don't have time to watch it. So I will add those links to the Twitch. So go ahead and follow us there. Like, comment, subscribe.